Hello, I am Gracious Kanzieni from Educare TZ. Warmly welcome here in our media for discussion of the different concepts. But here we are going to run on our chemistry subject, and our main discussion is making the revision question. And here we are going to be specific in our topic known as compound of metal. We are dealing with those revision exercises. And here today we are going to proceed with the question number 5 of those revision exercises. Here you can see that the question is that consider the following metal oxides. We have calcium oxide, we have aluminum oxide, potassium oxide, and copper 2 oxide. Write balanced chemical equations to show the reaction of each of the metal oxide with the following. Tumepewa the following compound. Tumepewa A, water, B, dilute nitric acid, C, sodium hydroxide solution. What does it mean? Mean that in this given ABC, we are required to make it or to react it with this compound of oxide. For instance, here tumepewa calcium oxide, aluminum oxide, potassium oxide, and copper 2 oxide. So through these given oxides of metals tunatakiwa tuzireactishe na hizi given compound, ambapo tuna water, tuna dilute nitric acid, tuna sodium hydroxide solution. So in each metal oxide we are required to react it with this given ABC compounds. So now let us see our responses. So first of all, balance the chemical equation for the reactions of metal oxide. In these responses, we will provide balanced chemical equations for the reaction of 4 metal oxides. Kwamba tumepewa 4 metal oxides, so we are required to react it with the given compounds ambayo tulipewa ABC. So we are required to provide the balanced chemical equations. So means in each given compound tureactisha with these 4 metal oxides. Particularly tuna calcium oxide, aluminum oxide, potassium oxide, and copper 2 oxide. So this one metal oxide tunaenda kuzireactisha with water, dilute nitric acid, and sodium hydroxide solution. This question tunaenda kulidiscuss as it is. Tutolifanyia combination na swali nyingine kwa sababu tukiliangalia ni swali ambalo lina uzito kidogo. Metal oxide zipo 4. In each metal oxide we have to react it with the 3 compound, ambapo tunatakiwa metal oxide ya kwanza tureactishe na water, metal oxide ya pili metal oxide ya pili tureactishe na dilute nitric acid, metal oxide ya tatu tureactishe na sodium hydroxide solution. Lakini pia that each metal oxide tunatakiwa tureactishe with water. For instance, calcium oxide with water, aluminum oxide with water, potassium oxide with water, and copper 2 oxide with water. The same apply to the compound B ambayo ni dilute nitric acid, na yenyewe tunatakiwa tureactishe with both 4 metal oxide. The same apply with the sodium hydroxide solution ambayo tulipewa ni C, compound C. Katika question zetu tulipewa A, B, C. Kwa hiyo huyu pia tumfanyie reaction with 4 metal oxide, and in each we have to write the chemical balancing equation. We have to follow the procedures. Kwa hiyo utaona kwamba ni swali ambalo lina urefu kidogo. That's why tunalidiscuss lenyewe. Okay. So let us start with the A. A specifically is reaction with the water. So those 4 metal oxide we are going to treat it or to react it with the water compound. Okay, let us start with the calcium oxide. So calcium oxide react with the water to form calcium hydroxide. Kwamba cha kwanza tuonyeshe kwamba hii calcium oxide compound ina react with water compound kwenda kutengeneza kitu gani, lakini hatuishi tu hapo. we are going to show it is balanced chemical equation. For instance, as you see here, this is calcium oxide react with water. We are going to have the calcium hydroxide compound. So you can see that here we have the 2 hydrogen in the reactant, lakini pia huyu mbili hapa ana involve all this oxygen and hydrogen. Kwa hiyo utaona kwamba hydrogen pia ziko mbili, oxygen tuna huyu mmoja na huyu mmoja the same, huku anakuwa wawili, kwa hiyo wawili, calcium mmoja. So you can see that the reaction is balanced. One thing missing here is only those state of matter, kwamba aqueous, liquid, solid au gaseous. Kwa hiyo hizo utakuwa unaweka kwa sababu tumezi consider sana. Okay, another metal oxide is aluminium oxide. So now we are required to treat the aluminium oxide with water. So aluminium oxide is amphoteric and does not react with water under normal conditions. My student, when we talk about amphoteric, it simply means that a compound which display the two, both characteristic, acidity and alkalinity, kwamba can react as an acid but also can react as an base. Kwamba ikireact na acid inact as a base, akireact na base anact as an acid. So this is amphoteric compound. However, it can react with the strong bases or acids. Lakini kingine ni kwamba hivi, though ni amphoteric, kwa sababu ni amphoteric tunasema kwamba this one does not react with water under normal condition. Mean that at a certain condition it can react. Lakini hapa tunaona kwamba it can react with the strong bases or acid. Those only strong bases or acid, particularly hydrochloric acid, sodium hydroxide, zile strong acids and strong bases. Sasa kama ata react na strong acid, on that time yeye ata act as a base. Lakini kama ata react na strong base, on that time huyu aluminium oxide ata act at the what? At the acid. That's the meaning of amphoteric. So another oxide is potassium oxide. Potassium oxide. So the potassium oxide reacts with water to form potassium hydroxide. Kwamba ana react with water compound kwenda kutengeneza the hydroxide of metal, which is potassium hydroxide. So simply, as you see here, you can see that this is potassium oxide compound react with water. We are going to have the potassium oxide. So here you have to consider that the elements which are found in the reactant are equal to the elements which are found in the product. For instance, potassium, there are 2 atoms here, but also in the product ziko mbili. Oxygen kuna huyu mmoja na huyu mmoja, tunapata wawili kwenye reactant. Tunapokuja kwenye product, huyu mbili anahusisha wote hawa. Kwa hiyo unaona kwamba oxygen wapo wawili. Tunapokuja kwa hydrogen, here we have the 2 atoms of hydrogen, the same apply there. So your reaction is balanced. That is how we do. So additional here, you will add those states of matter, kwamba ni liquid, ni gas. That's your task. Okay, another metal oxide ambayo tulipewa ni copper 2 oxide. Remember, hapa bado tunadili na part A, ambayo part A we have to treat this compound with water. Metal oxide zetu zipo 4. Kwa hiyo zote tunatakiwa tuzitreat na water, tumalize tuende tuzitreat na nitric acid, tuende tena tuzitreat na sodium hydroxide solution and so forth. Kwa hiyo hapa tunaangalia copper 2 oxide. Nasema kwamba copper 2 oxide does not react with water directly, but can react with the acid or bases. Kwamba yenyewe ha react na water directly, mean that ha involve the direct combination of this compound with water, lakini tunaona kwamba inaweza kureact with acids or bases. Okay, that is all about part A of our question. So the part B, we are going to treat those 4 metal oxide with the reaction with the dilute nitric acid. So you can see how our question is very long. Kwa hiyo tunaenda kutreat zile 4 metal oxides with the single compound ambayo ni nitric dilute nitric acid. Okay, so the first one is we are starting with the calcium oxide. So calcium oxide reacts with the dilute nitric acid to form calcium nitrate and water. We're going to form the calcium nitrate and water. As you can see that calcium oxide, this is the base compound. But here, nitric acid dilute, this is an acid. So obviously the neutralization will take place and we are going to have the salty, but also we are going to have the water compound, water molecule. So always acid and base react to neutralize each other and we are going to have the products neither acid nor base. Kwa mfano hii salt hapa haina acidic wala alkaline, but also we have water molecule there. So this is calcium oxide, 1 mole is reacted to the 2 mole of nitric acid dilute. We are going to have the calcium nitrate plus 1 mole of water molecule. And due to this addition of number of molecules here, this means that tulikuwa tuna balancing the equation, kwa sababu balancing of the equation ina involve addition of this number of molecules. Kwa hiyo this is what's happening between the dilute nitric acid and the first metal oxide ambayo ni calcium oxide. Now let us see another metal oxide ambayo ni aluminium oxide. Tuliona kwamba aluminium oxide with the first reaction ambayo ilikuwa ni water, tuliona kwamba no reaction kwa sababu huyu ana act kama amphoteric na huwa ana react with the strong acid or strong bases. Sasa hapa unaona kwamba huyu aluminium oxide, yes of course ni amphoteric, lakini je, ata react na nitric acid? You can see that aluminium oxide react with the dilute nitric acid to form aluminium nitrate and water. Kwa hiyo huyu aluminium ana react na huyu dilute nitric acid. So in that mean that hapa huyu aluminium oxide ame exist as a base. Ndio maana ya amphoteric, kwa sababu hapa ame react na acid. Angekuwa ame react na base, tutaenda kuona wakati tuna reactisha with the sodium hydroxide strong solution base, tutaona kwamba huyu ata act as an acid. That's why tunasema kwamba ni amphoteric compound. Kwa hiyo ukikutana na swali na kutaka utoe hata mfano wa amphoteric compound, ukumbuke aluminium oxide. So you can see that this is aluminium oxide. 1 mole of aluminium oxide react to the 6 mole of the nitric acid. We're going to have the 2 mole of aluminium nitrate plus 3 molecules of water. So that is how what we are going to have after the reaction between aluminium oxide with the dilute nitric acid. So here additionally you will add those states of matter on your own. But also another metal oxide is the potassium oxide. So the potassium oxide reacts with the dilute nitric acid to form the potassium nitrate and the water molecule. So after writing this, let us see our chemical equation. So the balanced chemical equation, as you see here, we have the 1 mole of potassium oxide. It's going to react with the 2 moles of nitric acid, diluted one. And finally, we're going to have that 2 mole of potassium nitrate with the 1 mole of water molecule. So that is the product, or that is our reaction between the potassium oxide compound with the dilute nitric acid. And our last metal hydroxide given, it was copper 2 oxide. Copper 2 oxide. So what are the products once we treat it with the dilute nitric acid? So the same, kwamba copper 2 oxide reacts with the dilute nitric acid to produce the copper 2 nitrate, and also we are going to have the water molecule. Now our balanced chemical equation is as follows. kwamba 1 mole of copper oxide, copper 2 means ina react with the 2 mole of nitric acid, tunaenda kupata 1 mole of copper, copper nitrate, copper 2 nitrate plus water molecule. Hizi zote ni reaction za neutralization. You can see that base and acid react to provide the neither acid nor base, kwamba always the acid and the base react to form salt and water compound. Now let us see the part C of our question. Part C of our question, we are given the compound of the sodium hydroxide solution. Hii ni strong base, so we are required to react with those given metal oxides ambazo zilikuwa ni 4. Tumepewa metal oxide 4, kwa hiyo tunatakiwa tuzireactishe with this sodium hydroxide solution. Therefore, specifically we have to start with the first metal oxide ambayo ni calcium oxide. So the calcium oxide does not react significantly with the sodium hydroxide as it is a strong base. Kwa hiyo tunaona kwamba huyu calcium oxide yeye mwenyewe ana exist kama base, lakini pia tunareactisha with sodium hydroxide solution. So you can see that no reaction between this compound. The reason is because this sodium hydroxide, it is a strong base, very very strong base. Kwa hiyo ni difficult to react with this calcium oxide. I hope you have a concept of those reactivity of the metals, kwamba yule ambaye ni more reactive ana uwezo kumdisplace mwingine kwenye compound. Kwa hiyo yule ambaye not more reactive hawezi kumdisplace mwenzake. Kwa hiyo kwamba reaction haiwezi kutokea kwa sababu ya hiyo reactivity of the metals. So make sure unakuwa na hiyo concept kwa sababu inakuwa applicable mostly katika reaction kama hizi. Kwa hiyo hapa ndio maana tunaona kwamba no reaction. So calcium oxide does not react significantly with this potassium, sodium hydroxide. Okay, another our metal oxide is aluminum oxide. Remember, aluminum oxide is amphoteric compound or amphoteric oxide. Therefore, tulivyo treat na dilute nitric acid ili exist as a base na ikareact ikatuletea matokeo. Sasa hapa tunaenda kuitreat with the strong basic compound. Therefore, you can see that hapa yeye ata-act kama acid compound. And finally, you can see that aluminum oxide reacts with the sodium hydroxide in the presence of water to form sodium aluminate. So we're going to have the aluminate compound. Aluminate compound. Hizi compound utakuja kuzisoma wakati unaposoma complex reactions. Complex reaction utaelewa kwa nini maana aluminate, kwa nini tunasema aluminate, kuna protocols za kufanya naming ya hizi compound. So you will understand as you move in further levels. So the reaction to show this aluminum oxide with the sodium hydroxide solution is this one, kwamba 1 mole of aluminum oxide ina react with the 2 mole of sodium hydroxide underwater molecule. Ndio maana unaona hapa in the presence of water kunakuwa na condition, kwa hiyo lazima kunakuwa na hizo moistures au kunakuwa na hizo water molecule. Therefore, we are going to have the 2 moles of sodium aluminate. Hii compound ipo kwenye complex compound, as you see here kuna hizi kind of brackets, afu ndani kuna huyu aluminum hydroxide. Kwa hiyo tunaita sodium aluminate compound. Hapo ni baada ya kureact with the strong base. Kwa hiyo utaona kwamba aluminum oxide ni amphoteric na ina react with those strong acids and strong bases. Kwa mfano hapa amereact with the strong bases, yeye ka-act kama acid. Okay, another compound of metal is potassium oxide. So potassium oxide, once you can see that it does not react significantly with sodium hydroxide as both are strong bases, kwamba zote ni strong bases. Potassium it is a strong metal, lakini pia you can see that tunareactisha with the potassium hydroxide. Kwa hiyo zote ni potassium. Huyu ni oxide, huyu ni hydroxide. Kwa hiyo tutaona kwamba no reaction between, kwa sababu both of them are the most reactive. Kwa hiyo hamna mtu ambaye ataweza kumdisplace mwenzake. Hamna element, kwa mfano potassium na potassium haziwezi kufanya displacement to each other because both of them are most reactive. Kwa hiyo tutaona kwamba does not react significant with the sodium hydroxide. Sababu ni kwamba both of them are strong bases, so no displacement to each other, kwa sababu potassium hydroxide, potassium oxide. Ina maana pale huyu ni base ambayo imeexist in form of oxide, huyu imeexist in form of hydroxide. Kwa hiyo the same metal, potassium. Kwa hiyo no one can displace each other, so you can see that both of them are strong bases. Kwa hiyo no reaction at all. Finally, let's look in terms of copper oxide. So you can see that the copper 2 oxide reacts with the sodium hydroxide to form a complex ion, specifically cupric hydroxide. Hizo complex compound utakuja kuzisoma kadri unavyoendelea na level nyingine, utazisoma vizuri kabisa complex reactions. Kwa hiyo the copper oxide yakireact na sodium hydroxide tunaenda kuform complex ion ambayo specifically inaitwa cupric hydroxide. The reaction can be represented as follow. When excess sodium hydroxide is present, you can see that the cupric hydroxide dissolve in the excess ambayo ipo ya sodium hydroxide solution, therefore forming the cuprate ion. Kuna namna ya kunemu hizi compound kwamba at the suffix name inaishia na ate, inaishia na prefix name iweje and so forth. That's why nimekuambia naming this compound utakuja kuziona zaidi au utakuja kusoma zaidi unaposoma complex reaction. So this is the reaction, cupric hydroxide ina dissolve kwenye excess sodium hydroxide and finally it's going to form this cuprate ion. And that is all my students. So umeona kwamba swali letu lilikuwa ni refu sana. All metal oxides ambazo tulipewa ziko 4 tulikuwa tunazitreat with the water, lakini pia dilute nitric acid, lakini pia tunatakiwa tufanye treatment with the sodium hydroxide solution na tuandike balancing chemical equation. Kwa hiyo swali lilikuwa ni refu sana, but I hope it is well clear and understood. So after there, this marks the end of our discussion. Thank you so much for your time. Bye bye. Have a nice moment.